touch me.
Holy shit. She's infected.
Fuck. She's infected.
Let me see.
I didn't mean for this.
Show it to me. Oh, Christ.
Oops, right?
Show me.
Oops, right.
We know you're in there. Drop your weapons and come out with your hands up.
Now you might be wondering why I showed you Tess's death scenes from the game and the HBO series. Well, if you haven't noticed, her death scene in the series is completely different from the game. So we will be showing why Tess's death was changed for the show. HBO's The Last of Us has already established itself as a must-see Sunday night television show following an intense first episode. The story continued in The Last of Us Episode 2, with Joel, Pedro Pascal, and Tess, Anna Torv, embarking on a perilous mission in exchange for a car battery, with Ellie, Bella Ramsey, in tow. Following that is an intense battle with the infected, a shocking reveal, for those who haven't played the game, and another massive death. First it was Sarah's tragic death in Episode 1, and now this. The death in question, however, is very different in the HBO show than it is in the original game. Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann, the show's co-creators, have now explained why they decided to change it. Warning, the last of US Episode 2 spoilers ahead. In the HBO series, How Does Tess Die? Tess dies at the end of the second episode of HBO. Tess becomes infected after a confrontation with the infected, as she was bitten earlier in the episode. She urges Joel to continue with Ellie after revealing her condition to Joel and Ellie, and uses her own bite as proof that Ellie is not infected. The trio is then swarmed by a large group of infected, and Tess devises a plan to stay behind and assist Joel and Ellie in escaping. As the infected swarm Tess, one of them latches onto her, walks over slowly, and kisses her, allowing the cordyceps tendrils to weave into her open mouth. She then finally gets the lighter to work, igniting the fire and blowing up the building with her and the infected inside. In The Last of Us, How Does Tess Die? Tess' death in the game is similar to the show's, but the manner in which she dies and who ultimately kills her are completely different. Tess is bitten by the infected in the game and shows Joel her wound. As in the show, she then uses it to demonstrate that Ellie is fine and encourages Joel to continue working with the adolescent. However, rather than being attacked by the infected and blowing herself up, Tess dies in the game at the hands of Fedra. The Federal Disaster Response Agency, Fedra, tracks Joel and Tess as they attempt to locate Ellie. Tess then stays behind to act as a distraction while Joel and Ellie continue on their way. Tess tries to kill as many as she can before dying off-screen. As it is confirmed that Tess has been killed, the gameplay shows Joel looking over the lobby. Why was Tess' death altered for the sake of the show? Speaking about the decision to change Tess' death for the HBO series, co-creator Craig Mazin explained that it didn't make sense for Fedra to be at the Capitol building. Why is Fedra even present? What are they up to? There's really nothing for them to police. Fedra being all the way out there didn't make much sense to me. Mazin made the remarks on HBO's official TLOU companion podcast. We wanted to show a different side effect of infection, one that wasn't just violence or horror, but a sick kind of community. Finally, we had the opportunity to demonstrate how interconnected they were. He went on to explain the reason for the horrifying kiss of death and how the infected are all part of a hive mind. Furthermore, co-creator Neil Druckmann, who also wrote the game, explained to Entertainment Weekly that Tess' encounter with the infected in the show demonstrates that these things don't have to get violent unless you're fighting them to keep the infection from spreading further.